What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the Lift Her Up podcast. I am your host, Latrice. So happy to be back with you guys on again season two. Thank you so much for all the love for my first interview for this season. I am elated to show you guys what we have in store for the rest of the year. This episode, I wanted to talk a bit more about my journey through confidence and why the Lord had given me confidence to talk about for this year. I'm focused on confidence and courage for the blog, for the podcast, for my life in general. Confidence and courage are my words. So I wanted to give some insight and some background on why I'm on this confidence journey. Okay. So today we're going to talk about confidence deficits because the Lord gave me confidence sometime last year to focus on. And He told me it's because a lot of us are in a deficit when it comes to confidence. And He's trying to reorchestrate how we view confidence within ourselves and within him as well. So I just want to talk a little bit about our deficits in confidence and why it's so important to God for us to have confidence as we go along in our journeys, as we work in our assignments and our callings. So, really, a lot of us have this false sense of confidence. We get our confidence from the things that we achieve, the things that we add on to our lives, like the letters behind our name, anything that we do, whether it's school or a job related or anything like that. It's a lot of it is tied to achievements. Like we have to do something or be someone in order to be confident, right? But that's not true confidence because once those things are taken away from you, then what do you have? Like you have nothing left. So that's not true confidence. And that's what the Lord is trying to get us to understand. Because if you are confident in your job, if you lose your job, then you feel like you have no sense of worth. If your confidence is in your loved ones or what people say or think about you and hold you to a certain esteem, once those opinions of you change, then what do you have left? You have no confidence left, right? So a lot of us we think we're confident because we have these things. We have people that say these great things about us, but really what we have is a codependency issue. All right. Like that's not true confidence because if you have to be someone else or do something in particular for your confidence, then it's not real. It's just a surface level confidence. And many of us were placing our confidence in the wrong things. And again, the Lord wants to correct that. Our confidence should be anchored in God. Above all, it should be anchored in Christ. It cannot be anchored on the blessings from God. Like we can't place our confidence in the money and the houses and the cars that He gives us, right? And it can be anchored in our family. It can be anchored in your spouse. It cannot be anchored in your children. It cannot be anchored in your degrees. It does not matter what it is. Our confidence has to be rooted in God in order for it to be sustainable, in order for us to maintain it. So, why is confidence so important to God? Like, why does it matter? God cares about our self esteem. Okay. And I know that's a misconception a lot of times in the church because this whole idea of self love to some saints, it looks like self love is like that we place self love higher than we place God loving us, right? Above loving Him. And that's really not the case. We can't be so caught up in like we're placing God above everything that we just negate ourselves because if God created us, especially in His image, then that means that we do have worth and we do have value. So we can't negate or ignore the fact that God calls us beautifully and wonderfully made. We can't negate the fact that He says all these beautiful and wonderful things about us as His creation. That means that we are valuable to Him. So that means we should also find value in ourselves as well. So again, not overdoing the whole self-love culture. Like we can't place ourselves above God, but since God views us in a certain way, then we can say, hey, I do have value. So that means if God places some sort of confidence, in us, then that means that he wants us to view ourselves in a certain esteem as well. So it matters to God how we view ourselves. Our self-esteem matters to God. And the lack of confidence in ourselves can lead to all sorts of dysfunction and self-doubt and procrastination and stagnation as we try to conquer the world, as we try to do all these assignments that the Lord has placed in our hearts to do, right? So, excuse me, confidence, the lack of confidence, it impacts how we interact with people, how we interact with God, how we interact with ourselves, and how we choose to see the world. And if we go out and do the things that he wants us to do or not. And it spills over into everything, absolutely everything. I was reading the book of Judges, and I stumbled across Deborah's story, and it really reminded me of this confidence. So just a little background on the story. But in Judges, Deborah is she's a judge and she's a prophetess, and she goes and she tells the Israelites that they can that they're going to win this battle in this fight. And the sergeant who was in charge, the soldier who was in charge, Barak, he did not want to go after he did not want to go after their enemies. He just wanted to sit back and hang tight, and he was scared. Honestly, he was scared. And so what ended up happening is Deborah prophesied, well, if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it, and your victory is going to be placed into the hands of a woman who was Jael. So Jael did get the victory for the Israelites in that. So I say all that to say lack of confidence will cause us to miss certain God ordained opportunities. So if God has said, hey, you're going to get the victory, hey, like you're going to win, if you choose to sit on it, like, and pause and wait and not move forward, and you're all, oh no, Lord, like that's scary because those people are scary, or like that fear is real scary. Okay, like he has no problem in shifting along, skipping past you in order for his will to be fulfilled and produced in the earth. Period. Point blank. Like he has no qualms doing that. So let's just make sure like the Lord used a donkey. So that means he can use anything. He can use anyone that he wants to use, right? Another person that I thought about while reviewing this is Gideon. So Gideon was a very fearful man. And the Lord asked me to read this specifically. And I was like, okay, Lord, I feel like you calling me out a little bit, because Gideon was like low key, not even low key, honestly. Like he was legit, he was a scaredy cat. Like ain't no qualms about it. Gideon was a complete scaredy cat. And it was this great example of how we will try to use confirmation as a way to mask our confidence, right? We think we're asking God for confirmation because, oh, Lord, well, like, just speak to me. We use it as an excuse, as a blanket to be like, okay, Lord, I just want to make sure that I'm in your will and I'm in your way. But what happens when you get that confirmation one time, two times, three times, okay? And the Lord tells you the same thing over and over and over again. At that point, you just want confirmation because you scared, because you have no confidence. And that's exactly what Gideon did. He just did ask the Lord the same thing over and over. And the Lord was faithful enough to show him, hey, yeah, like the Midianites, go ahead, conquer. Yes, I'm sending you. Yes, I'm sending you. And what Gideon did was he heard the word of the Lord, and he made moves, but he did it in silence. Like he didn't obey God fully. He did it partially. So his lack of confidence actually led him to further disobedience. He took down the idol at night, in the middle of the night, right? But then he won against the Midianites. But then after they won, he ended up leading the Israelites into further idolatry. That's not what the Lord wants for us, okay? So lack of confidence can also lead to increased disobedience. Again, the Lord will pass you by He would prefer to use you, but if he can't, if you are going to be in the way, if you're going to be in the opposition, that just reminds me of Jesus and Peter when Jesus says to the disciples, "Hey, like the Son of Man is going to be crucified. Like I'm going to die, then I'm going to raise." Right? And then Peter was like rebuking Jesus. Like, hey, don't say that. And Jesus was like, get behind me, Satan, because he knew that the spirit that was operating in Peter at the time was contradicting what the Lord had to do. Like he wasn't going to let anything get in his way of going to the cross and fulfilling the cross, his work on the cross. So let's not get stuck in these seasons of over confirmations and under trusting and under faithing God. Again, all ties back to our confidence. All ties back to our confidence because the Lord wants us to be in a place where we have so much faith and confidence in Him that it spills over into our lives as well. Um, a lot of us this year and beyond are called to break certain social and societal norms. We're called to speak out against injustices, against unrighteousness, evil intentions, evil systems that the enemy has constructed. And a lot of us are called to these mountains where we have to speak truth, and we are going to face persecution in these areas. We're going to face people not understanding why we're there, not understanding why we're speaking out about the things we're speaking out on. It's because God has placed us in those rooms. And we cannot be scared. We cannot lack confidence or be doubtful that the Lord is sending us to those places. We have to stand in Him and be confident as we tackle these mountains, because the attacks are going to come. The spiritual attacks are going to come. It's not always a death thing. It is though, like as a Christian, you get a lot more persecution of people saying your religion isn't real, right? Like not believing in Christ. We're going to face those things, and the world is getting crazier and crazier and crazier. So we need the confidence to step forward and do whatever the Lord has called us to do, regardless of what people say or what they may think. We have to be anchored in Christ in order for us to succeed. And we cannot afford to be the reason why we're not stepping up in this season. We can't afford to be in our own way anymore. So that is exactly why the Lord has me talking about confidence this year, because there were some times where I was like, Lord, like I can't. And He reminded me multiple times, you can, because I'm with you. You can, because I'm with you. You can be courageous too, because I'm with you. So let us go with God in this season. Let us march toward confidence. Even when we don't feel confident, let our confidence in God shine through the most. So whatever you're doing, go forth. Do what God has called you to do in this season with confidence. You are not alone. We're in this journey together. All right. So, no more confidence deficits in 2024. We are tackling all of those. We're going to talk about it all. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Our next few episodes will probably be about courage, but confidence is just as crucial as courage is in this journey. So, that wraps it up for me, guys. And until next time, remember to stay